The wait is over. New episodes of The Walking Dead Season 10 are premiering early, February 21st on AMC+. Don't miss the extended 10th season, featuring 6 new episodes, each focused on fan-favorite characters. Prepare for all-new high-stakes showdowns and emotional reckonings by catching up on the latest season before new episodes drop. With season binges, exclusive content, and early access to new episodes, the best Walking Dead experience is only on AMC+. Get lost in the Walking Dead universe today. Available ad-free and on demand. Sign up at amcplus.com. AMC+. Only the good stuff.
Hey, it's Mark Roberts. This is Let's Get Into Entertainment.
The business of entertainment, Mr. Rinks and Roberts.
Thanks,
That's what's
guys.
up, Davey Dave.
Welcome to the show, both of you. I'm very happy. You know, we're in the holiday season, so this
You are very happy.
So it feels good.
Kind of like annoying happy.
It's exciting.
A little
to
too
be,
chipper.
No, it's exciting to be with you guys. I'm not
Well, you
gonna
had
lie.
a big hit this week. Probably
We
your
did.
biggest hit so far,
Well,
right?
let's not date it, but right now you can watch Feliz Navidad, starring Mario Lopez, Paulina Chavez, Mary Carmen Lopez.
Showman.
Shulman, and
Frankie Quinones.
and Frankie Quinones and Anna Lynn McCord. And anyway, so yeah, it screened, and apparently it did extremely well.
Yeah.
It had like 2 or 3 amazing reviews.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm very proud of that. But the business of entertainment that we're getting into today is something I've been wanting to talk about for a super long time. It's about faith-based movies.
Which is a huge
Business.
market.
Yeah.
And we can't do anything like that because we cuss too much and we drink. Right, David Dave?
Hey, if we want to keep it real,
Come on, keep it real, player.
sometimes it slips out, man.
It does.
That's part of being a human, bro.
But you believe are you a Christian? Are you a Catholic?
I'm a Christian, absolutely.
Okay, so are you a Christian
Of
Catholic?
course.
Okay, so we all believe in God
Yeah.
and Jesus and the Mother Mary, right?
Yeah.
So Lucas Miles,
Yeah.
who's going to be on the show in a minute, he's a producer, director, a
Pastor?
personality.
Oh,
He's
really?
a pastor.
Yeah.
He makes these kinds of movies. He's connected with a
Yeah.
bunch of big actors.
Yeah. He listens
and
to our podcast. That's how he reached out to me on IG.
That's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
I'm really happy that you guys connected and that you're producing the show and that you went out and produced some a pretty cool talent.
See a little dig right there? See, I'm happy because you went and did something.
No, that's not what I said. I said I'm
Right.
glad that you produced this. Right? What did I say to you last night? I said you want to be a producer.
Then
produce some talent.
And then what did I do?
You produced some talent.
I
2
lined
people.
shit
Yeah.
up. See,
No,
I
you
couldn't.
did-
I couldn't do Christian music right now. Christian
No, you
music.
did great. No, you'd be banned in 13 countries right now.
That's what's up. Not in Peru.
Not in
Wow.
Peru.
What's
Number
up,
1 in
Lima?
Peru. Hey, shout out to Peruvians,
Shout out
man.
To Peru.
We can go anywhere on the
What's
streets of
up?
Peru.
That's what's
Machu
up.
Picchu.
Or
I'm
maybe we
down.
can't go anywhere in Peru.
Damn.
You got to have
You're
a
like searching for sugarmen down there.
armed escort. But no, we are going to be talking about faith-based movies,
Yes.
product, and the remarkable thing about this business is you can make a faith-based movie and make tons of money, and sometimes people haven't even heard of the movie.
Yeah.
True.
You know, because there's a big contingent of people that love like family movies and movies about faith. And sometimes that's not in the mainstream, you know, it's not in like, it's not on all your networks and stuff. But because we're a world connected by, YouTube and streaming services and all that, you can, a group of millions of people can find this one product anywhere they want and no one will ever heard of it.
It's
you know?
like when Kirk Cameron had the first Left Behind movie out.
Yes.
Like it created a huge buzz outside of the faith.
You know what? It's funny.
community.
We got to talk to this guy about that movie because that movie was, I think, one of the first that ever broke out
Yeah.
and did like millions and millions of dollars
Right.
in business, and literally no one had heard of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I
it was
haven't
still
heard
a
of
big
it. What
hit.
is it?
Left Behind by Kirk Cameron.
Yeah. Growing
Yeah.
Pains.
Good stuff.
Tyler Perry does a lot of faith. His all stuff is faith based too. And
Yeah. Well, he is a pastor.
Yeah.
And he started by doing plays and stuff at his church. If you have thought that you have ideas that are faith-based, that are about feeling good, that are about family, that are about Jesus, God, or whoever you pray to, then today is the show for you. We're going to be talking to Lucan Miles, who's a filmmaker, a pastor. He's also a radio personality. I guess he does his own podcast as well.
Yeah.
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 And he knows a whole bunch of very interesting people. But I want to talk to him about this business because apparently he's doing very well in it. And he can kind of guide the way. So let's get him on the horn. So we got Lucan Miles on the podcast. He's a pastor. He's a film producer, media personality. He's involved with faith-based movies, which I'm fascinated by. I can't wait to get into this conversation. But welcome to the show, Lucas.
Hey, thank you guys. Good to connect.
Holy mackerel! He sounds like
Dude, you got great
$1 million.
pipes.
Yeah, right. Jeez.
Damn, you do voiceover too, Lucas?
I do a little bit of voiceover every now and then. I was born in Indiana, though, so I haven't been able to get out as much as I would like. But yeah, I do a bit of that here.
Oh wow! And so let me get right to it because I think it's I think you're a fascinating story and I want to hear all about it. So, I know you're a filmmaker. It's interesting to hear pastor and filmmaker in the same sort of paragraph. So,
yep.
Which one came first?
So I actually started preaching at 17. I turned 41 on election day, so that was quite the birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Yeah. And, but I started preaching at 17. So that was definitely, I guess, first vocationally, but really before that, I mean, I was the kid, growing up, born in 79. Like my parents got the first Panasonic, VHS camcorder, and I mean, I just ran around the neighborhood, made short films and did all those things, was president of the Thespian Society, went to a pretty big high school, probably second biggest high school in Indiana. And did a lot of, theater and speech and debate and all those kind of things. So I was always performing, but there was always this faith track that was in my life as well. And so those two things, were always present for me. And I was the kid when the teacher said, "Hey, write a paper," I would say, "Can I make a movie instead?" And I would edit within the VHS, camcorder, just all in camera. And, to roll credits, we just hung up a poster board that we wrote our names on, and that's kind of where the start, happened. And got in the ministry and got married at 21, still married. We'll have our 20th anniversary this next year. And I had, there was a girl that started coming to our church. This is probably 10 years ago now. And she was on season 2 of American Idol. And so she was from this area, did the LA thing, moved down to Nashville for a little bit and kind of had a rough experience with a manager. Nothing criminal, but just it just didn't work out. She landed with a bunch of debt afterwards, and she was opening up for some bigger acts, but she was young, didn't really have good, representation or anything. And so she moved back home and started attending our church. And so she was kind of a local celebrity, around here since she had been on Idol. And it was still, at that time, only a few people had been on Idol. Now it's been on 40 years or something, or whatever. Yeah. And everybody's done Idol. But,
Roberts did Idol.
No, I didn't.
So I ended up just helping her. My dad's a financial planner. My brother's a branding guy. I got these kind of vicarious skill sets. And I was just helping her and her husband through some of this. And after a couple months, she's like, "I think you're my manager and you don't know it." And she was doing contemporary Christian music. And so I ended up managing her for probably about 5 years, producing music videos. We were opening up for a lot of the bigger acts around the country. I'd go and speak and then she'd do the music. And we did that for a while and worked really well and built a lot of relationships, kind of within the industry. And I ended up publishing a book in 2016 that was a national release in the faith market called Good God. And that opened up some more doors for me. While I was managing this girl, other people that came from a faith background that were kind of working in the entertainment industry started hearing "Hey, there's this pastor that can help you with your entertainment career." And so in the Midwest, I was like the guy that people were calling for this. And took on a girl that was 13, had done a few Hallmark movies. She'd worked with, Dean Cain and some others, in that realm, Florence Henderson, and came from a faith background. Her mom said, "Hey, we're trying to, help my daughter to navigate this whole world. She's getting some real opportunities. We're going to LA periodically, but we need somebody in her corner." So I just started it was like this hybrid of pastor, life coach, pre-manager, sort of situation that I was in. And she got cast in this film called Rodeo Girl that was filmed up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And at the time, they were trying to get Luke Perry to play the dad on the film, and that ended up not working out. I had called the producer and I said, "Hey, I work with Sophie. She was cast as a lead role. And, if you need anything, if you need somebody to get in her head or whatever, just put me on the phone or I'll drive up to set for a day. It's 2 hours, and I'll get her in shape here for you, And he goes, well, actually, I just had a producer fall through on this deal. Have you ever produced before? And I go, I've done music videos. And he goes, it's the same thing, just longer, which we all know is a total lie. But it was enough to make me go, okay, let's try it. So I ended up raising, I don't know, $150,000 of, and this is a micro budget film, but raised about $150,000 of, investor money, came on as a co-producer, equal with, his name is Joel Paul Reisig that I produced this with. And we made this movie, flipped it to Netflix, Redbox, a bunch of other platforms. And so, here I am out of the gate, my very first film, and I got to deal with Netflix. I mean, I was on top of the world and thought, I need to do this again. And here I am.
Well, let's
Lucas, you got, excuse my language, you kind of got a little screwed there because you should have came on as an EP. You found $150,000 for a micro budget. Okay, right. You need me to. I'll represent you, Lucas. Okay,
okay.
That's
I might
it.
need you to make a phone call after this. Let's see if we can get the credits changed.
I think that's pretty remarkable. That's incredible.
It's great.
And I don't know. You probably know better than I do, but life sort of deals you different cards, and you go down different roads, and you meet different people, and you volunteer for different things, and at the end of the day, when your intentions are just to help people or to tell stories or to make sure that you're being creative, sometimes things work out. I mean, it sounds like you offering up your help ended up giving you an opportunity that led you into a whole new business. What I did want to ask you, and I think this is interesting, is as a pastor you tell stories, right?
I mean, it's certainly part of it.
I mean, when I go to church, I'm fascinated by the eulogy, and how that always has this wonderful way of having a beginning, middle, and end. It has a beautiful arc, and it leaves you feeling really special and almost like they were talking to you. Yeah. And I think that's part of storytelling. It's funny. I was waking up the other morning with my wife, and I woke up thinking about this pitch that I had pitched, and I was telling her, I go, look, at the end of the first season, what would happen is, he would have to keep a secret, and at the end of the second season, he would discover that he's not the person at the end, and I kind of kept going, and she was just looking at me, and she goes, did you daydream a lot when you were a little kid?
Yes.
And I said to her, I did. I was a horrible student. All I did was think about where my life was going to go and stuff. And I think the reason I'm saying that is because I think a lot of us have this wonderful storytelling in us, in our hearts. And it has to do with your upbringing. It has to do with what you do in your life and the people that you meet and the things that impact people that you speak to. And I just think it's a really neat business for that reason, because you tell stories from different parts of life, and we end up making this product that ends up going somewhere where people want to see it. I think faith-based movies have proven to be very, very lucrative, and there's a very big audience for them. I don't know where that audience is. So my question to you is, when you are in this bucket of faith-based movies, what do you like? What's the first step? Are they very independent in their structure, or are they a sell to a streamer or network right off the bat?
It definitely varies, and you have guys at different levels. And, I've been really fortunate to be able to, connect with people kind of across the spectrum. So I have guys that are really just starting off, and they're doing true micro budgets that are reaching out to me going, how do I handle this? And what's the next step? And they're asking for advice in that. And then I'm also able to kind of, I've been able to rub shoulders with guys like Devon Franklin or Brian Bird, who are doing this at a whole nother level, and really shaping the industry in many ways, or Mark Joseph on the new Reagan film. And so, you're seeing, I'm able to see kind of both perspectives. And so, there's definitely probably just like anything else, within the entertainment industry, there's certainly saturation, at certain budget levels, and, especially intro level, everybody's trying to make a film or, a short film or something, hoping it's going to become the next God's Not Dead that's made for $2 million and made 100 million plus or whatever they did on it. And, for me, it's not necessarily, even though I'm a pastor and I've done 3 films, 2 of them are family. The third one, which comes out December 22nd, it's called The Penitent Thief, is our first sort of, faith movie, but it's almost even faith adjacent. It's a backstory on the 2 thieves on the cross. It's more about the thieves than it is Jesus. You encounter this Jesus story by the end of it. It really, it kind of starts and ends there. But, we've been able to tell this story about the thieves. And so that was something I was hired on. I originally was hired on to be a lead producer for. We ended up having a situation that put me in the director's chair halfway through the movie.
What?
Nice.
And so so I ended up directing the second half of the film, but there wasn't the budget to kind of go back and shoot everything again. So I'm kind of working with somebody else's work and trying to navigate my way through that. So obviously that's got some unique challenges, for it, as you could imagine.
Yeah.
I've also I just produced I self-produced a so my podcast show is called the Lucan Miles Show that I do, where I interview celebrities about their faith. And Mario Lopez was on my show not too probably
Was
about
he
a year and
really?
a half ago.
Rio?
Yeah, it was just a phoner, so he
Yeah.
may or may not remember. I was probably one
Oh.
of 30 things he did that day. So
I remember that now that you say that. I remember that. Yeah, he told me about that. That's cool.
it was funny because he was like driving through the hills, and so we like disconnected like 3 times.
Yeah.
But we got it done. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really enjoyed that. I just produced an episode for PureFlix, which is obviously kind of the juggernaut within the faith space, and just sold to Sony, with a firm kind of leading the path now there for their streaming side. But I produced an interview with Candace Cameron Bure. It was a sit down at Biola University, so I flew out there, sat down with her. We did an hour and a half show, long form interview, which it's more of a TV style format. It's not an independent film, but so I've been able to dabble in both sides of that world. Is there a market? Yes, there's a market. I think it's growing, but I think it's also getting smarter. And early faith stuff was, people were craving faith stuff so badly. It didn't matter what you made. If you said Jesus in it, I think like people were going to go see it and support it, And now the quality of faith films, I think, has gotten better. I think the audience is expecting more. And you can't just make the same movie again and again and expect it to do as well. And I know that, for me, when I'm talking to a lot of the real influencers in that space that are doing higher level content, none of us want it to look like what it looked like 5, 10 years ago. It has to be better. I think I Can Only Imagine is one of the ones that set kind of a new bar with Dennis Quaid. I think also Brian Bird produced The Case for Christ, which was a biopic on Lee Strobel, the author and journalist who started off as an atheist and then converted to Christianity after trying to disprove that the crucifixion happened and determined that he couldn't. And so those two films to me are kind of the new benchmarks, within the faith community. There's certainly others that are out there and newer ones that are being worked on, but I think that's where, things are moving to.
So if people are out there thinking, I have a faith movie or a faith story that I'd like to tell, are these movies sitting in the low budget realm? Is there a price range for a successful faith-based movie?
Yeah. So, I always tell people if they're starting off, I'm like, you need to either make something for like under 400,000 or over $1 million. There's this death range. I feel like, and I don't even think this is just with faith movies. I think that unless you really know how to navigate the distribution side, which, let's face it, it's harder than ever. With Walmart is virtually gone for DVDs, especially this year in 2020. So you have a whole nother, and even if it wasn't gone, you still were dealing with returns and possibly never seeing money and everything else from distributors and all the things that go with that.
Right.
And I think that, when you look at this, you have to just be really smart. And I think it's about strategic partnerships. I wasn't involved with God's Not Dead, but, as I've looked at that movie, and it's not even, it's the best cinematic thing. It was a great marketing concept, and that's really what blew it up. They developed strategic partnerships. They had a series of cameos in the film, from the Duck Dynasty guys to people like Sorbo and Dean Cain that had already existing audiences, and the Newsboys and different Christian band. I mean, it was just this perfect storm. It was it was like back in the the 80s when they used to make the ensemble cast movies, with all these people in them, and that it just sold because of everybody had somebody they liked in it.
Yeah.
And so they would go see it. And so that was kind of the nature of that. I think that now, there's more and more story focused, films that are coming out that aren't just prepackaged ideas, like that. And that's not anything against God's Not Dead. I mean, it did what it was supposed to do, and it built, kind of it built a machine, to continue film production for PureFlix. PureFlix, and I think that's awesome. But I think some of the new stuff that's coming out, and even the new stuff that's coming out from PureFlix, I think is just it's considerably better content. But I think it's same deal. You have to hit a budget level that makes sense. If you're going to go straight to VOD, I usually encourage people to be under 400,000. And even then, you still run a risk if you don't do the right deal of not seeing anything. I mean, filmmaking it's super sexy on the front side, but the back side is not always as hot, So, but I think that, if you're going to jump to that next level, you have to go theatrical. And again, that's a whole new navigation with COVID and everything else we're dealing with.
All right. So then we're talking 400,000 or below if you want to take some risk and get into a good idea. And if you can get some actors, some real actors, and maybe, and you've got a more complicated movie, then you go up over 400 maybe. And
over a million.
Whatever.
They almost you have to jump to over a million, So I have a few projects that are in development right now that are north of, the million range. We have one that's considerably north of that. That's still a faith movie, but it's something that's never been done before. And it's a unique project. And so, I think that, there's opportunity for, where the real, I think, revenue is in crossover pieces. It's where you can, to me, one of the greatest faith movies that's been made is the Book of Eli. I mean, it's, I don't know as though anybody sat down and thought this is a Christian movie, but it's this amazing faith story, that has all the, the best action of an action movie, and it's got Denzel. So who doesn't like it,
Right.
And so those types of films, I think, that are getting people to think differently, and see, faith and scripture or God from a different lens, I think is really, it's going to be necessary if we're going to continue telling, good faith stories. Because after a while, you just feel like, man, I feel like I've seen this before.
Godfather is kind of faith-based, right?
Yeah, why
right?
not?
I mean, when he's blessing the baby, right? And he cleans everybody. I mean, it's kind of like
that goodies. What's interesting about what we're talking about is, on the show, we talk a lot about high concept ideas. And high concept ideas, in my opinion, rule the higher budgeted films and also audience interest, right? These ideas that you can tell get people interested in a sentence. Right off the bat, the movie that you've got coming out in December interests me because it was the two guys on the cross. Okay, right there, you got me. I'm interested. The Thieves. Okay, that's of interest to me. I want to see what that's about. You don't have to say anything else. They were on the cross. They were the thieves. I'm in. So that's high concept to me. I'm going to pitch you a couple of ideas for faith. Okay.
Let's hear it. There
was a guy when Jesus was on the cross. There was a guy who pierced his side. Right.
Yes.
And there was that, whatever instrument was used to pierce his side has always been a fascination to me. So whatever that instrument is, like, where is it now?
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. Like this quest for this spear of what it is basically. So the traditional name for him, and that character is actually in our film. There's, and I don't know as though we know this for sure, but the church history sort of name there is Longinus is the name that's given to that particular soldier. And he's the one who, is said about him later in scripture that, he basically looked at Christ after this and said, surely this guy is the Son of God, and so this sort of that he was overseeing that process of the making sure that he was dead.
Yeah, that's that sword, right? I mean, the story is fascinating, but just the idea that someone can get a hold of that sword and the power or not power or whatever it is, right?
Yep.
So you could build an entire movie around
very Dan Brown.
Yeah, right. yeah. So those are the two I have for you. But the second thing I want to get into is, have you heard of a company called extrememusic.com?
I have not.
Okay.
Oh, Lucas.
There's a company called extrememusic.com that Tootie, myself, we just did a movie called Feliz Navidad for Lifetime. He did a movie called Made in Mexico. And, I've used it on everything. But anyway, it's this website that has all of this music, and it's library music. But whatever you punch in, they've got hundreds and hundreds of composers from all over the world providing music that works for your movie. And I was just wondering if you had ever used them for one of yours, but you should check them out.
I would say it's thousands, not even hundreds.
No, I wanted to be reasonable because I don't know if they've got hundreds of faith-based songs,
I
but
thought
you never
meant
know.
songs in general.
No, in general, thousands.
Cool.
Yeah, it's thousands.
Cool. I'm not limited to necessarily faith-based. There's certainly things that, you're not going to see me probably as a producer on, Saw 50 or whatever is out there right now, but, like I have a creature thriller that I actually dreamed. My wife was in Hawaii and it was a couple years ago. And, I just had this dream about this kind of Bigfoot creature, sort of aquatic thing. I woke up in the middle of the night, wrote a bunch of notes down, and then she was gone all week. So I just took the whole week off and I just wrote this script and I just knocked out like 100 pages or whatever. And it's, it's your kind of college road trip, Bigfoot, sort of movie. I think it's really fun. And, I've shopped it around a little bit, not a whole lot. But, I like that. I think that there's a lot of great stories that are out there. And to me, if it's either fun or meaningful, I mean, I'm obviously not everything. I mean, I've been watching Kevin Costner's Yellowstone. I mean, I just like that, content. Like I love great content like that. And, I see something even like I've always said that The Walking Dead is one of the better faith shows that are on there. I mean, almost every episode during the first couple seasons talked about God or Jesus, and they probably frankly had better theology than a lot of pastors that are out there today in many cases. And so I think that we can get really creative with what we're making. I have a Christmas film that we've looked at. We had a couple places shopping that for a while. And so, to me, I think that there's new storytelling that can happen. Even something like, did you guys see Machine Gun Preacher with Gerard Butler?
No. I heard about it.
Sounds pretty cool though. Machine Gun Preacher.
It was amazing. And it was biopic about this real guy who, basically had a rough background here in the US, went over to, got talked into by his pastor to go to Uganda on this mission trip, and crosses over into Sudan and ends up, basically seeing all the horrors that are happening there. And he deals with it the way that, a rough and tough biker guy would deal with it, and basically ends up getting this calling to move there, lives there, and, is fighting off, these kind of local militias and cartels and everything that are happening over there, Boko Haram and all these different groups. And it's a true story, and I mean, it's been Hollywoodized, obviously, but it's a great film, and it's a great story that shows the conflict between he wants to fight to save these people, and he's also trying to fight for his own soul in the process. And, to me, that's a movie that moves us as people. And it's not this cookie cutter, sort of like Sunday school version of filmmaking that I think that, by and large, most people, you can't grab one of your friends that, maybe isn't interested in faith and bring them to certain faith films. They're just going to roll their eyes at you. That's not something that's going to move people.
I don't know. This is a weird thing to say, but the business of faith-based movies is probably not in saying that they're faith-based movies. If you think about It's a Wonderful Life, you've got an angel in that movie. You've got him saying, I'm not a praying man at some point in the film, and saying, but God, if you're up there, help me. Right. There is faith in that movie, and no one has ever considered it a faith-based movie. Right. I don't think. Right. And 100%. I think there's obvious opportunities. I mean, if you think about a film like Constantine, it's an action movie. Yeah. But it's based on, part of the Bible. So I think that there's something very interesting about what you're doing. I think you're going to, you're already successful, but you're onto something that's going to, if it's not already, it's going to be crossing over into the mainstream. And I think as long as you continue to tell great stories, the faith-based part is just going to be something that sort of is an add-on to the stories, rather than it being that you're just telling great stories that happen to have, faith involved in them.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But look, thank you for being on the show. Thanks for talking to us about that. Don't forget to check out extrememusic.com. I'm not kidding about that. I think
I'll do it. I'll send you the check for it after. We can send some pitches back and forth.
Thank you, bud. But and then you got my 2 pitches. Call me later about those.
And then you also have James Russo in your movie, right?
Yeah, James is amazing. Yeah, James played Castor was the name of the character. Yeah, and he's kind of Sorbo plays King Herod in this film. He's got a small, kind of cameo part there, and then Russo plays sort of his right hand guy, and he's the one that carries out the slaying of the innocents of when Herod sends out his soldiers to kill all the babies that are under 2 years old to try to kill Christ. I've been able to work with some great people, and it's been exciting. So yeah, it was a great experience.
Well, Dave and I are over here, so if you want us to read for anything, just let us know. Roberts won't let us read for anything.
Yeah, for sure.
He just likes to record us when we're running lines and make fun of us. You know what I mean?
That's for another podcast. But tell us again when your movie's coming out. What's the date? What's the name of it?
The film comes out on December 22nd. I believe it's Amazon Prime. I think it's Comcast On Demand. Let's see here, iTunes, a few others. So the filmmaker is always the last to know where it's dropping, right? But it's coming out through Vertical Entertainment's dropping that.
And what's the name of the movie?
It's called The Penitent Thief.
Penitent. I can't wait to see it, man. You've already hooked me. It's got something that I'm interested in. But look, good luck with the movie. Congratulations on the moves you've made and on the movies that you're making, and good luck with all your endeavors. Come back to the show. Let us know what's going on next time, would you?
I would love to. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right,
good to connect.
Talk soon.
All right, Lucas.
Take care. Bye.
That was a great interview.
Yeah, what a smart, good dude.
And it seems like he's been divinely led.
Yeah,
if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
He's starts as a pastor, meets some people, manages their life. Is a great speaker.
Yeah.
Has a podcast, meets influential people, helps them with their careers, and ends up becoming
directs
a producer.
movies now. He
raises money.
I like Lucas.
Yeah, this kid.
I got to get a hold of Lucas. We let Dave, you and I need to take a meeting with Lucas.
Absolutely. I want to talk to him about how my dad was a pastor for 30 years.
Dude, why didn't you bring that up?
That's for another show, another time.
Oh, that's what's up. We'll get him on irate.
Have him on irate. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a great get. Thank you for bringing him on the show. I think he's going places. I hope his movie does extremely well. It comes out December 22nd. And then we pitched him a couple of things. We'll see what happens. I think
not you.
I think no. But I think because we put it on here, it's going to be presented by. Let's get into entertainment.
Oh, we're recording this right now, right?
Could be the new production company. Here we go.
This is being recorded, so he can't go back on it now. It's already been said. He's all pedo on tequila right now.
Should we set up the LLC tomorrow or later on tonight?
Let's get into entertainment LLC movie company or movie company LLC.
Keep talking, Robert, because it's all getting recorded. You ain't going anywhere.
What about the dude who pierces Jesus' side? That's a good story.
Where is that? Where is that sword?
What if they found it? What if someone has had it and it's been in someone's backyard in their little shed for
next to the crown
30
of thorns.
years. Yeah. Ooh.
What? Dave coming out with the zinger.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us on Let's Get Into Entertainment. And we hope you're having a great holiday season. And thank you guys for being here. And we'll see you next time on Let's Get Into Entertainment, David.
The business of entertainment.
The wait is over. New episodes of The Walking Dead Season 10 are premiering early February 21st on AMC+. Don't miss the extended 10th season featuring 6 new episodes, each focused on fan-favorite characters. Prepare for all new high-stakes showdowns and emotional reckonings by catching up on the latest season before new episodes drop. With season binges, exclusive content, and early access to new episodes, the best Walking Dead experience is only on AMC+. Get lost in the Walking Dead universe today. Available ad-free and on demand. Sign up at amcplus.com. AMC+. Only the good stuff.